Narrated by Al-Murar. At our Rabada I met Abu Dar, who was wearing a cloak, and his slave, too, was wearing a similar one. I asked about the reason for it. He replied, I abused a person by calling his mother with bad names. The Prophet said to me, O Abu Dar, did you abuse him by calling his mother with bad names? You still have some characteristics of ignorance. Your slaves are your brothers, and Allah has put them under your command. So whoever has a brother under his command should feed him of what he eats and dress him of what he wears. Do not ask them, slaves, to do things beyond their capacity, power, and if you do so, then help them. Narrated by Al-Anaf bin Qais. While I was going to help this man, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Abu Bakr met me and asked, Where are you going? I replied, I am going to help that person. He said, Go back, for I have heard Allah's messenger, saying, when two Muslims meet each other with their swords, both the murderer as well as the murdered will go to the hellfire. I said, O Allah's messenger, it is all right for the murderer, but what about the murdered one? Allah's messenger replied, he surely had the intention to kill his companion. Narrated by Abdullah. When the following verse was revealed, it is those who believe and confuse not their belief with wrong, worshipping others besides Allah, the companions of Allah's messenger, asked, Who is amongst us who had not done injustice, wrong? Allah revealed, No doubt, joining others in worship with Allah is a great injustice, wrong, indeed. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, The signs of a hypocrite are three: 1. Whenever he speaks, he tells a lie. 2. Whenever he promises, he always breaks his promise. 3. If you trust him, he proves to be dishonest. If you keep something as a trust with him, he will not return it. Narrated by Abdullah bin Amr. The Prophet said, Whoever has the following 4 characteristics will be a pure hypocrite, and whoever has one of the following 4 characteristics will have one characteristic of hypocrisy unless and until he gives it up. 1. Whenever he is entrusted, he betrays. 2. Whenever he speaks, he tells a lie. 3. Whenever he makes a covenant, he proves treacherous. 4. Whenever he quarrels, he behaves in a very imprudent, evil and insulting manner. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's messenger said, Whoever establishes the prayers on the night of Qadr out of sincere faith and hoping to attain Allah's rewards, not to show off, then all his past sins will be forgiven. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, The person who participates in holy battles, in Allah's cause, and nothing compels him to do so except belief in Allah and his apostles, will be recompensed by Allah either with a reward, or booty, if he survives, or will be admitted to paradise, if he is killed in the battle as a martyr. Had I not found it difficult for my followers, then I would not remain behind any Sariya going for jihad, and I would have loved to be martyred in Allah's cause and then made alive, and then martyred and then made alive, and then again martyred in his cause. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's messenger said, Whoever establishes prayers during the nights of Ramadan faithfully out of sincere faith and hoping to attain Allah's rewards, not for showing off, all his past sins will be forgiven. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's messenger said, Whoever observes fasts during the month of Ramadan out of sincere faith, and hoping to attain Allah's rewards, then all his past sins will be forgiven. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, Religion is very easy, and whoever overburdens himself in his religion will not be able to continue in that way. So you should not be extremists, but try to be near to perfection and receive the good tidings that you will be rewarded, and gain strength by worshipping in the mornings, the afternoons, and during the last hours of the nights. Narrated by Al-Bara bin Azib. When the Prophet came to Medina, he stayed first with his grandfathers or maternal uncles from Ansar. He offered his prayers facing Baytul Maqdis, Jerusalem, for 16 or 17 months, but he wished that he could pray facing the Kaaba, at Mecca. The first prayer which he offered facing the Kaaba was the Asr prayer in the company of some people. Then one of those who had offered that prayer with him came out and passed by some people in a mosque who were bowing during their prayers, facing Jerusalem. He said, addressing them, By Allah, I testify that I have prayed with Allah's messenger, facing Mecca, Kaaba. Hearing that, those people changed their direction towards the Kaaba immediately. Jews and the people of the scriptures used to be pleased to see the Prophet facing Jerusalem in prayers, but when he changed his direction towards the Kaaba during the prayers, they disapproved of it. Al-Bara added, before we changed our direction towards the Kaaba, Mecca, in prayers, some Muslims had died or had been killed and we did not know what to say about them. Regarding their prayers, Allah then revealed, and Allah would never make your faith, prayers, to be lost, i.e. the prayers of those Muslims were valid. Narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Allah's Messenger said, if a person embraces Islam sincerely, then Allah shall forgive all his past sins, and after that starts the settlement of accounts. The reward of his good deeds will be 10 times to 700 times for each good deed, and one evil deed will be recorded as it is unless Allah forgives it. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's Messenger said, if any one of you improve, follows strictly his Islamic religion, then his good deeds will be rewarded 10 times to 700 times for each good deed, and a bad deed will be recorded as it is. Narrated by Aisha. Once the Prophet came while a woman was sitting with me. He said, who is she? I replied, she is so and so, and told him about her excessive praying. He said disapprovingly, do good deeds which is within your capacity, without being overtaxed, as Allah does not get tired of giving rewards, but surely you will get tired, and the best deed, act of worship, in the sight of Allah is that which is done regularly. Narrated by Anas. The Prophet said, whoever said none has the right to be worshipped but Allah and has in his heart good faith, equal to the weight of a barley grain, will be taken out of hell. And whoever said, none has the right to be worshipped but Allah and has in his heart good faith, equal to the weight of a wheat grain, will be taken out of hell. And whoever said, none has the right to be worshipped but Allah and has in his heart good faith, equal to the weight of an atom, will be taken out of hell.